Hi there, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our webinar series, Staying Strong and Positive for Ourselves and Our Children. I'm Robyn Harvey, the National Director of Training and Technical Assistance here at Be Strong Families, and I am so glad that I'm going to see you all. As you're coming in, if you'd please introduce yourself in the chat. Just write your name and where you're located, where you're from, and make sure that you put the chat going to everyone, so not just Andrew and I can see it. Andrew Hitchcock is also here. He's in the background and he's doing our tech services, which we are always so grateful from. I am from DeKalb, Illinois, 60 miles straight west of Chicago. Jason from Seneca, hello, and Michelle from Dallas. Hi, Michelle. Michelle from Western New York, awesome, welcome. All right, Riette from Halifax, wonderful. We have Canada here again today. Thank you, Emily and Kate, welcome, and KT and Camille and Laura and Lakeisha. Welcome everybody. Aurora, hi Monica. I'm just down the street from you. Mississippi's in the house, Longview, Texas. Dee from DC. So exciting to see so many familiar names and a few new ones along the way. So we're going to just give it another minute for you guys to introduce yourselves. Selena from Philly, welcome. Today we're going to do a really fun exploration of our recognizing and responding to family stress. This is part of our week-long human-centered child welfare series. And yesterday we talked about what it means to speak in person first language and how important that is for human-centered child welfare. If you missed the webinar, go ahead on over to our website and you can find the recording there. It's also on YouTube. Andrew might be, oh, look, he's even faster than me. The link is for the YouTube for yesterday. All right, so again, welcome Ruth from Barrington, Illinois. Thank you, thanks for coming. All right, so for those of you who are new, the ways to engage are the following. If you could please keep your phone on mute, that would be wonderful when you're not talking. When you're ready to comment, raise your hand and we'll unmute you, and then you'll need to unmute yourself so we can hear you. Be patient with us. There's already 28 people on, and I expect a few more. So we will get to everybody's comments and their hands being raised as quickly as possible. Feel free to type any of your comments in the group chat, but please make sure that it's going to everyone. In the chat box, when it says to, it'll say either all panelists and attendees or everyone. That's what you want it to say, so we all can hear. Hi, Lawan from DC. And look, Lawan is predicting what we're going to do next. Andrew, you want to go ahead? We're going to talk about the agreements. All Be Strong Families events are really held together by the agreements. So we need you to speak from your own experience using I statements. We need you to use the golden rule. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. Bring your full self, no multitasking. Give yourself a gift. Remember, I always say that. 30 minutes just to breathe and to listen. And then if you need a minute, take a minute. We won't take any formal breaks during this half an hour together, but if you have needs or your family has needs, please feel free to go attend them and come right back when you can. So if you agree to hold these agreements, please type, I agree. This lets everybody know that this is an emotionally safe space where it's okay to share. Awesome. All right, you can go ahead, Andrew. So today we're going to talk about how to recognize stress and a little bit about stress. This comes from our 4-hour training called Recognizing and Responding to Family Stress. Andrew asked me a really interesting question, like, is this personal stress or professional stress? And for me, and for most of Be Strong Families, we believe that people are whole people. And it's really hard for us to separate our professional stress and our personal stress. It all is encapsulated. So this class helps us to pick out the the stress, to look at it, to analyze it, and then gives us ways to respond to it. It's a really great class. Okay, so the first question we have, does anybody know what the differences between eustress and distress are? They're the two types of stress, the two main types of stress. You can type those into the chat, or you can raise your hand and we can have a conversation. So I'm trying, I know that sometimes I have to just be patient for you guys to type, not answer it. Okay, so we all know what distress is, right? Distress is the bad stress. That's what comes when something negative happens to us. Carolyn, thank you. Eustress is good, I think. Eustress is good is what Carolyn said. Eustress is good, I think, is what Jason said. Yes, eustress is good. So this summer, I had a really big family event. Thank you, Adrienne. Nice to see you. Memorial Day weekend, we went camping, and my second youngest son, he asked his girlfriend to marry him, and how exciting, right? I have a new daughter-in-law, and super exciting, not stressful at all, until he said the next sentence that was, I want to get married on the 4th of July weekend. So I had 6 weeks to plan a wedding on a beach, not near my homeland. This is a happy moment. I was getting a new daughter-in-law. My son was marrying the love of his life. But I'll tell you what, it was super stressful. Super amount of planning, coordinating, finances, all of those things. That was good stress, but it was still stress. Our body doesn't recognize the differences between eustress and distress. We react to it the same. You can go to the next question, Andrew. All right, and you can do the next one too. Let's do these next 2 questions together. Awesome, thanks. So we're going to take a look and we're going to try to help each other recognize what stress looks like. So what does stress look like in children? And what does stress look like in adults? You guys can use the chat function to answer this, or you can raise your hand and Andrew will unmute you. What does it look like? So Jason says it varies from individual to individual, which is true. Thank you, Jason. Caroline is offering irritability. Now, Caroline, is that in children or in adults? It could be with both, right? Yeah, thank you, Adrienne, for both. Right. And I agree that it looks different for each person, but let's talk about what those signs are. Even though there's a great variance from person to person, what are some signs when you know you're stressed, or what does stress look like in you? What does stress look like in your children? Acting out. Adrienne, is that for adults or for children? Quite not their normal selves. Thank you, Betty. Yes, Adrienne, for both. Oh, sore neck and shoulders. Thank you, Carolyn. Silence, going quiet. Changes in sleep. These are all signs of stress in both populations. Now, wherever you work and whatever you do, oh, there's a few more. Not doing regularly scheduled work, yes. Lack of motivation, yep. Thank you, Emily, and thank you, Adrienne. Forgetting, thank you, Belinda. Absolutely. So I want you to put yourself in the situation where you work. So you could be working with children, it could be working with adults, it could be working with a mix of both. What things or what manifestations do you notice in your staff or in the children you work with professionally? Any flight, fight, or freeze response? Thank you, Jason. Yes. So when you are a professional and you are trying to recognize stress in the people you're serving, what does that look like? What are you looking for? How do you know? Anger. In the professional world, you might miss due dates. Thank you, Emily. Eyes not on the screen. Yeah, thanks for bringing the virtual world into it, Adrienne, because a lot of us are really working from home and doing things on the screen. Good. Who else? What does it look like? What are you looking for in the people that you're serving when you're looking for signs of stress? Lack of response. It could be their hygiene has changed. It could be no interaction. Thank you, Venice. Not eating well, tone of voice. These are all really, really great. A few more. What does it look like when you're stressed? And are you using that as a reference to look for other people's signs of stress? I know that when I'm stressed, I tend to keep my mouth busy. So I'm either talking a lot or eating a lot. Lack of concentration. Snacking. Yes, Emily, I just said that. That's great. That is one. Lack of motivation. I clean a lot. Good, Belinda. That seems like a good outlet. The niece, offers eating a lot. Yeah. I tend to keep my mouth busy when I am stressed. Playing with your fingers. Good. I have somebody in my family who twirls their hair, one who shakes their knee. Depression. What are some of those signs of depression you're looking for, Lori? Withdrawal. Yeah, anxious and wanting to sleep. Thank you, Dee. Exhausted look. Yeah. Sad, but with no reason. But sometimes maybe if you're experiencing a great deal of stress, there is a reason. Lack of interest in anything. Yeah, dissociation. So what I'm seeing here is a lot of the stress responses, how we handle stress, look a lot like the indicators of trauma exposure as well. Loss of weight, reserved body posture. Thank you. Crying. Yeah. All right. Okay, Andrew, you can go to the next slide. All right, so let's talk about once we have recognized the stress in our lives or the lives of the people we love or the people we work with, we need to respond to that. So what are some ways that we respond to people's stress? What are some of the stress relieving activities that we can do with children? And what are some of the stress relieving activities that we can do for ourselves or inspire others to do? All right, Laura, yoga, meditation, coloring, dancing, noticing the beauty around us. Oh, great ideas, everyone. I'm going to try to get all these out before they scroll up. Children, playing with other children, going outdoors. Thank you. Model, taking deep breaths. I just saw the greatest breathing exercise, like a little infographic for kids the other day. I need to find that again. Rocking or on a swing has helped some of our kiddos. Yes, Jason, I had a child who liked a hammock, like a therapeutic hammock. He liked to swing back and forth and be pretty encapsulated. Denise offers words of encouragement. Good. Does anybody want to raise their hand so we can take you off mute and maybe hear somebody else's voice for a few minutes? Listen to the one who's stressed is what Belinda says. Getting some sunlight, taking time away from screens, changing your environment, stepping away. All grand ideas. Ice cream, Adrian, you're a girl after my own heart. Ice cream. If you eat when you're stressed, that can lead to an eating disorder. Yeah, you're right, Lori, it can. Reading positive affirmations. LaJuan, can you write one of your positive affirmations in? Or can you raise your hand and we can hear a couple? Carolyn, petting an animal. Good. So I'm a big animal lover. I have 2 dogs, 5 cats, 30 chickens. And you're right, Adrian, animal therapy is one of the best. I love going outside and petting my chickens and petting my dogs. It's so therapeutic. Yes, Laura. A couple more. Taryn says, I like to take a 15-minute walk. Thank you. Oh, Andrew. Andrew says, I recently got a corgi. And he can confirm it's therapeutic. Thank you. Oh, good, Adrian. Changing environment really helps, even switching inside rooms. Good. Carolyn, weighted blanket. Thank you. Lawan says offer or allowing yourself to live in the moment. No, Laura, nobody said exercise. They said a couple of ways to exercise, but no one said like the grand word exercise. Better diet. Good. Do you want to talk about that better diet, Emily? What that means? Speaking to your loved ones. I'm just going to say it. That a girl, Carolyn. Good glass of wine. Yep, as long as it's not problematic. Adrian, it's no longer cool, but with your family, hugs are important. Yes. Socializing with old friends. Thank you, Andrew. Rebecca, music. Oh, there you go, Emily. Can you unmute Emily Rodriguez, Andrew? And then you'll have to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Thank you.
Let me turn on my screen. Oh, I actually can't, I guess. So what I mean by a better diet is really just being mindful of what I'm eating when I am stressed. Sometimes I like to go to the easy things such as fast food or snacking. However, I know that the mind and the body are one. And in order for me to get out of that hole, I must eat foods that are nurturing, such as kale, spinach, bananas, strawberries, chicken, tuna, anything that is vitamin dense, because I know that when I put those nutrients inside my body reacts in a way that helps me get out of the stressful event that I am encountering.
Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you for adding your voice. I appreciate that. Any comments on Emily's list? Any foods that you eat that de-stress you? So for me, it would be comfort foods. And those aren't always the ones that Emily's talking about, like the most nutritious or best. Tea, Lori says tea. She also said massage therapy. I'm a therapist and you can do this to yourself. Laura, do you want to take yourself off mute and tell us all just a simple thing we can do to make ourselves or to de-stress ourselves a bit? Andrew, can you take Lori off mute?
Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Oh, finally. Okay, I couldn't figure this out yesterday. So if you are very stressed, you can always do massage therapy to yourself. And the first thing that I would suggest is finding a very comfortable place to sit. It can be in a chair or it can even be on the floor. And you want to start with kind of like sitting up straight and really just first stretching out your neck to one side. And then you're going to stretch. I'm doing it as I'm saying it. Stretch your neck out to the other side. And you want to repeat that a couple of times. And while you're doing that, you want to do some nice breathing with that. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you want to stretch your neck down, your chin to your chest. And then back, you're going to look up at the ceiling and you're going to stretch back. And then you're going to start doing some heads, some circles with your head, one direction, then the other direction. And then you're going to take for example, your right hand, and you're going to cross it over to your left shoulder and by the shoulder blade where all the muscles are. And you're going to take it, and it's like you're almost kneading bread. You're going to squeeze and you're going to pull forward. You're going to pull your hands forward and you're going to keep pulling forward. And you just keep repeating that. You can put your fingers in there. You can do a little circles, kind of like if you can get some deep tissue in there, go back again. Your thumb is going to brace against your neck, and you're taking your 4 fingers and you're pulling and you're putting pressure at the same time as you're pulling forward. I mean, you can just try it while we're doing this. And then I'm taking my left hand now and I'm reaching over to my right shoulder in the deltoid area. And I'm putting pressure on there and I'm just kind of like squeezing and I'm pulling forward. Reach as far back as possible, because that's where your calcium deposits are. And the calcium deposits are there because you are stressed. So you're going to do that to yourself, and you're just going to keep putting pressure and pulling it forward. If you have someone who can do something to help you out with the massage, they can go behind you and they're just going to use their thumbs, and they're going to go thumb over thumb on those calcium deposits, and it hurts. But you want to get those out. You're going to keep pushing and going thumb over thumb upwards, again in the same direction. You're going to repeat that. And if necessary, you can take a fist, your knuckles, or even actually an elbow if they're that bad. And it hurts, but it's a good hurt. And once it's gone, you're just going to go, oh, that feels so good. And you're going to keep doing it. You know?
Thank you so much, Laura. That was really, really great. Super helpful. And Emily says, very helpful. Thank you, Laura. It almost fell asleep at work. Definitely doing it tonight. And then Carolyn said she rubbed CBD oil on her neck before she started this. And Betty wants to get some of that. Adrian took us back to food, and she said, I noticed that if I eat really clean and healthy at lunch, I'm in better shape in the afternoon. Foods like hummus and carrots or celery. Also, an apple in the afternoon is great. Thank you, Adrian. And let's see. Dee says, that was great. Doing it again as well. Where do we get more information on how to do that simple process? Is there a YouTube or that we can mimic? You can just type that, Laura. You don't have to come back on. That's great. All right, now let's talk about what we do for our children. What are some things for our children that we can do? We have 7 minutes left in our conversation, so let's focus on the kids. Meditation is good too. Yes. Thank you, Adrian. Stress relief for me, one of the things I do and I encourage my kids to do is get a really good and sound night's sleep. My kids are also very sleep sensitive, and they have very stressful days if they don't get the sleep. So it's a really bad cycle. Laura says, teach them the massage techniques. Yes. Thank you, Laura. Absolutely. And coupled with that, we should probably think about teaching our kids how to oxygenate their bodies by deep breathing. She says massage them as well. Start as newborns. Yes. Keeping a regular schedule is also really helpful. And adding in exercise. Yeah, that's for the kids for sure. Yeah, I didn't have little kids when COVID, first appeared on the scene. I don't have little kids now either. But so their schooling was not, involved. I had high school kids. I had a senior in high school. And I did notice with him that the schedule being off for a while really didn't help his stress levels. Focus on the nucleus of what causes the stress in adults and children. Yeah. So on top of doing stress relieving activities, Laura is saying we should figure out what causes it and we should address that. Adrian says, my children enjoy yoga. I know that sounds odd, but they started as little kids in an adult yoga class. Yes. And it is very individualistic for sure. Often offer children choices so they feel they have some control. Yeah, Riette, I did that as a kid, and everyone always laughed at me because I was always like, do you want the red cup or the blue cup? With things that were just nonsensical. It didn't matter what cup, they both were good cups. But it did give my kids decision power making and some sense of control. Thank you. All right, so now I just want you to think about, we have Just a few more minutes of sometimes children don't understand the feeling of stress. Yes. Yeah. So helping them to recognize it. You're feeling stressed. This is what it feels like. Yes. Agree. So in our last few minutes, I want everybody to think of one thing they can do. Today's Tuesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to end out our week that can relieve stress in your own life, whether it's personally or professionally. What's your commitment? How are you going to take care of yourself? You can just put those in the chat and I can read them out, or you could raise your hand. Okay, so Lindsay says she's going to go to bed earlier tonight. Thank you. Don't internalize thoughts, fresh air, walking or running. I will call one friend every day. Taking a walk each day. The corgi helps with that. I'm sure he does. Make sure they have a room with things they like, inviting colors, pictures, lights. Good. Listening to music and reading a book. Going to give that massage tip a try. Yes. Resting, practice self-care, and take some time to breathe. Just stop and breathe. Those are all really good suggestions. Taking a bubble bath. Oh, I love that. Awesome. Good. A couple more people. You can just type right in there. Cat therapy. You know, I love that, Adrian. Knowing when to say no, Lawan, that is so important. Do what makes you happy. Awesome. Walking the dog. Thank you, Tawana. Good. Understanding your limits and being able to voice them appropriately. Thank you. Reading a good book. Meditation before the start of the day. Appreciate others more. Yeah, having an attitude of gratitude. That's really helpful to me. It really helps me focus on what's going well. Appreciate others more. Oh, shared power. Great, Lawan. Thank you. All right. All right, Andrew, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So we're going to finish out our week-long adventure through human-centered child welfare. Tomorrow, Wednesday, August 25th, we are going to be talking with Tarcisio Ornelius Gomez about maintaining family connectedness. This is a fabulous topic, and it's about the times where kids are separated from their families and what we do as caring adults to keep that sense of family connectedness alive and well. And then we're going to have communicating with families with Korean Dunley on Thursday, August 26th. And the last day of the week will be a taste of a More Perfect Union Cafe. We're going to be using the AMPU cards, so More Perfect Union cards, instead of the Parent Cafe in a Box cards. These cards really get to the issues that are found at the intersection of parenting and social justice. They're super, they're deep, and I really love those cafes. The last slide here is going to tell you a little bit about our upcoming parent engagement through a lens of equity workshop. This is being offered on September 15th. It runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it really digs into how good family service programs can evolve into great, beloved community resources, and how political, social, and economic equity can aid in the goals of developing and nurturing positive, engaging relationships between you and families. If you're interested in signing up for this webinar, please use the QR code there. Andrew has also put the link in the chat. You can just click on that. And that brings us to the end of our webinar. It's 12:29. I'm gonna let you go take some deep breaths in the last minute together. And on behalf of myself and Andrew and everyone,